whether you are watching this live or maybe you're watching the replay or maybe you are listening to this as a podcast. Welcome. This is a session that's made so that you can ask questions about the English language, of course. And I will try my best to answer them. Usually I get through most of the questions, but please be patient because sometimes there are more questions than I am able to answer. If you are wanting to ask a question, either Todd or Dave will link the question over there. I'm just going to say hi for a sec to each of them and we'll go from there. Just give me a sec. There's Todd posting the link for the first time. I need to check my audio. Everything seems to be working great. Anyways, once again, welcome. So in this lesson, again, the chat is the place where you can have English conversations. Please don't ask questions in the chat. Please use the form that Todd just linked there. That is the best way to do it. The chat is a great place to, one, speak English with other people or chat in English with other people. And two, I will post the questions there from the form once they are submitted. So I'm going to start. And the first question is from Dikshant. Let me just get this into the chat here. I'm clicking all the wrong spots today. Let's see here. Dikshant, how and why did you decide to upload a video on Tuesdays and do a live lessons on Fridays? So that's an interesting one. I decided to upload videos on Tuesdays because it gives me a chance on the weekend. Usually on a Saturday afternoon, I shoot my footage. And then usually on a Monday night, I edit all of the footage and I do the transcription or I do the captions. So it just worked for me really, really well. And the Friday morning was just something where I thought, you know, it's the end of the week. It is the weekend in most parts of the world, so people might have time to watch a video. So I decided to do a live stream on Friday mornings, my time, which for most people in the world is late afternoon or evening. So it just worked out. The Saturday live stream was a bit of a fluke. I just tried it one day and there were lots of people watching, so I just kept doing them. Next question is from Lolly. Let me just try something here, see if that works. Lolly says, Bonjour Bob, could you tell me how to use either or neither, or either or neither? There's two ways to pronounce that. So the best I can do is just give example sentences. So if someone says, I don't like tea, you could say, I don't like tea either. So you are agreeing with them. And then neither we use to exclude things. So you could say something like, neither my brother nor I like to drink tea. So there's two example sentences for you. Hopefully that helps just a little bit. Next question is from Yana. Could you explain how to use prejudice in a sentence, please? So prejudice is when you think things about people without even knowing them. Sometimes people from other countries or other races. So when there is prejudice, it means that people, so if a place has a lot of prejudice, it means that one segment of the population thinks negative things about the other segment of the population. So that's how I would describe prejudice. I'm just checking here. I hope my connection is good. I think things are going well, but I'm just going to keep going here and hopefully things are going well. Pavel says, hi Bob, two variants. How many pens do you have? How many pens have you? Which one is correct? So the first one is the most correct. How many pens do you have? The second one is a little formal sounding. And which one is used more often? So definitely the first one there. So let me just scroll back. How many pens do you have is the most correct way to ask that question. Next question is from Ahmed. Says, what is the difference between bucket and pail? They are pretty much the same thing, okay? You could go get a bucket, you could go get a pail. They are the same thing when I say that. Let's see here. From Shen. Shen says, lovely Shen, smiley face. Have you ever laughed while reading your fans' comments? Sorry, I may not be able to join your party on Saturday afterwards because I'm going to go back to, and then a bad word, it says, hell, I really love you. Thanks, Shen. Yes, I have laughed at some of my viewers' comments at times. Sometimes people ask questions that are genuinely funny. sometimes people use English in a slightly wrong way, and that can be entertaining as well. Let's see here. Mia says, "Hi Bob, your videos are really useful. Thank you. Could you please pronounce these words, or the words, serious, series, and serial?" So let me use them in a sentence. Some people are very serious. They don't laugh very much. They're very serious people. When you watch a whole bunch of television shows in a row, we would call that a series. And then the last one in the morning, sometimes I eat cereal. So there you go. Those three pronounced and used as an example. Alina says, "Hi, Teacher Bob. Could you please explain the difference between recall, recollect, and remember? Thank you." So recall, recollect, and remember all are verbs that we use when we are talking about the past. So I remember last week I ate cereal for breakfast once. You can use the word recall. We don't use it as often, but I could say, I could recall a time when I used to eat breakfast every day. So it's used to reference maybe further in the past. It's definitely less used than the verb remember. And recollect is kind of an older word. You know, as far as I recollect, there are lots of police in Toronto. So I would use remember most of the time. They have very similar meanings, but the word remember is the most common. Lily from Vietnam has the next question. Lily says, "What is the difference between I like doing something and I like to do something?" Nothing. If I say I like doing sports or I like to do sports, they mean the same thing. So they are equivalent sentences. It just depends on which one you feel like using at the time. Let's see here. I'm going to skip this next question because it's quite grammatical. And grammar questions are hard to answer on the fly. Zora says, "Hi Bob the Canadian, how are you?" I'm good, by the way. "What's the difference between insist, persist, and resist? Thank you in advance." So if I insist on something, it means that I'm pushing you to do it. So if I say we should go to our cousin's birthday party and you say you don't want to go, I could say, "No, I really think we should go. I think it would be good for you. I think you would have fun." In that situation, I am insisting that you go. If I use the word persist, it means that I keep doing something. So when you persist, you do something and you do it again and you do it again and you keep doing it. So you persist and you are persistent. When you resist, it means you push back against someone who is trying to get you to do something. So if I say no a lot, it means that I am resisting. So those are those three. Let me get a sip of water here. I want to just stop and say hi to everyone who's watching. It is good to have all of you here. And I hope that you are having an enjoyable live lesson with me. If you're new here, don't forget to click that red subscribe button over there. And a thumbs up is always welcome as well. Let's move on though to the next question. Let's see here. Next question is from Israel. "Hi Bob, how are you?" I'm good. "What does powered by and frio mean? Have a nice day." So the second word I don't recognize, but powered by would be the source of power. So if you say a car is powered by gasoline, that means that it is using an internal combustion engine and it runs on gasoline. If you say a car is powered by electricity, then it would have batteries in it. Okay, so that's what powered by would be. And I didn't recognize the second word. So Surav says, "Hi Bob, I am from India. Could you tell me how will I prepare for a job interview? Please make a video on job interviews." I will do this in the future. It is on the list and it is highly requested. So look for it in a few months. I know that might not be soon enough, but the best way to practice for a job interview is to have pretend job interviews with people you know. So find someone who speaks English and ask them if they could pretend to interview you for a job. So they can pretend they are the company that is possibly going to hire you. That is the best way to practice. Next question. It's from Max. It simply says, "Max, book." I would read The Pearl by John Steinbeck. That's the first book I recommend to most people. Edwin has the next question. Edwin Rambal says, "Hi, Bob, from Colombia." Hi, Edwin. Can you please tell me the difference between into and onto, please? So this is a tricky one, but definitely when I go shopping, I go into a store. Okay, so when you go into a store, it means that there's a store and you walk into the store. You are then in the store. Onto would be if you are going on top of something. Okay, so sometimes you walk onto the escalator. Okay, there's two examples for you. Hopefully that makes some sense. Those two examples of how to use those two words. They're a little more detailed than that. But that should help you just a bit. Jackson has the next question. Can you tell me the way to go to study abroad? All I can tell you is if you search on Google how to study in Canada, how to study English in Britain, how to study English in Australia, you will find information from the governments in those countries that will tell you what to do if you want to study there. How to study English in the United States, and you will find information about that. Let's see here. Nathan GR says, "Hi, Teacher Bob. How is it going? Do you ask this type of question daily? And what have you been up to lately? Do you use this structure? Thanks." So I have this type of live lesson every Saturday. It is 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here, and I answer as many questions as I possibly can. I do have a video that comes out on Tuesdays every week. In fact, let's see if this works. It might not work. I tried to set it up so if I put that in the chat, Nightbot tells you about my video, but I don't think it's working. And I do have a live stream on Friday mornings as well. So you are welcome to join those. They happen every week. Let's see. Next question is from Hussein. "I'm learning English as a second language, but I'm always concerned when I want to speak English with a native speaker, like Canadians and an American, because I have an accent." So first of all, the best way to soften your accent is to speak a lot of English. The best way to soften your accent is to have conversations with native English speakers. I highly recommend you hire someone. I think that is the best way to do it. That would be the best thing to do. Let's see. Just going to check something here. I have someone in the chat saying their name was too long. Yeah, you're limited on your name, so you might have to put a shorter version of it for sure. And let me see here. Let me go to the next question. It's from Alexander. I think I saw this question go by earlier in the chat. What is the difference? So notice I made a correction there, Alexander. What is the difference between van, lorry, and truck? So there might be a difference in Britain where they use the word lorry. In Canada, we use the word van and we use the word truck. We don't often use the word lorry. We know what it is because we watch British TV sometimes. But definitely the difference would be a van is enclosed, whereas a truck can be enclosed or it can simply be flat. Okay, so we have two things there, two different kinds of trucks. Let me see here. Next question. I would do a search, by the way. Do a search on Google Images for van, truck, and lorry, and you will see the difference between them. Agrippina. Hi. Let's see here. Do you celebrate Valentine's Day? What traditions do you have? Well, we definitely do. And if you have a loved one or someone that you are romantically attached to, you would usually buy them chocolates. You would take them out on a date. And you would certainly do something romantic with them in the evening. Let's see here. Next one. Isra says, when can I use the word though? So that's a tricky one. It's hard to explain quickly because we use it in a number of different ways. So you could say something like, even though I'm doing a live stream, I'm also drinking a cup of tea. So there I used even though. You can also use it in a sentence like, let me just take a sip. You could say, oh, it's hard though to learn how to do that. So you kind of stick it in there as an extra word. So I can't answer it as clearly as I would like to in this live stream, but I would look up a video for that. Hey, I want to say thank you to Lolly for the super chat. Thanks for your great help, Bob the Canadian. You're welcome, Lolly. Thank you so much for giving me just a little tip there. That's awesome of you. I hope you have a great weekend, or I hope you are having a great weekend. Let's see here. Next question. Valerie Pret Uchetel says, Bob, hello, Teacher Bob. Hello. Could you explain the difference between attach, fasten, join, and connect? Thank you in advance. So when you, let's see here, when you attach something, so if I had something like a postcard, I attach it to the wall. We usually just say, I put it on the wall, but you could say, I attach it to the wall. You could say that when you join two things together, like if you have two pieces of wood and you put some glue, you would join the wood together. You would also say that you glue it together. When you connect things, like when you have a van and a trailer, you connect the trailer to the van, or you can also say you hook it up. So there's a lot of uses for those words, but there are some examples for you. Next question is from Andre. Can you explain the phrase, it looks sick? I often see this one when someone shows off his photo or drawing or something like this. It is look good or the opposite. So first of all, sick usually means that you are sick, like if I have a cold or flu. But in current informal English, there is somewhat of a slang term, which is to say something is sick. I could say I bought a new phone and it's sick. And that would mean that I like it. Okay, so just listen for the connotation of when it's happening, and that's how you will know if it means good or bad. If someone is positive about something and says that it is sick, that means that they like it, for sure. Let's see here. Next question is from Andres. Could you help me with this question? When to use to and as well? Thank you, Bob. So I like to drink water as well as tea. I like to drink water too. I like to drink water as well. I like to have two drinks while I'm doing a live stream. Sometimes I drink tea and sometimes I drink water as well. I like to drink tea. Sometimes I drink water too. Hopefully I got all that correctly said. But what you can hear there is they are somewhat interchangeable. Elias Gomez, thank you so much for the for the super chat. Elias says, I arrived a little late, but I'm here. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. That's awesome. Let me clean up my questions here, and we will move on to the next question. Let's see here. Anna says, Anna Teslenko. Hello, thanks for all your lessons and practice exercises. No problem. I'm waiting for some and your videos on nature. Oh, for summer and your videos on nature. Yes, I will definitely, when summer comes, do a video on nature. Fabio from Italy says, hi Bob, could you explain the meaning of stand to benefit? Little spelling mistake there. It's actually benefit. Stand to benefit. Could you also make some examples? Thanks a lot. So let me see here. I don't stand to benefit from some of the things that I do. If you stand to benefit for something, it means you are going to gain something from it, okay? So sometimes when I'm out, I just like to be polite to people. I don't stand to benefit from that. That means I'm not going to get anything in return. If I open a door for someone, you know, the only benefit is that I feel good. So when you stand to benefit, it means you are going to gain something for an action that you did. Hopefully that makes some sense. And we'll go to the next question. Anna says, what is the difference between alumnus and alumni and how to pronounce these words? So alumnus, I'm pretty sure is, let me just look it up for a sec to make sure which one is plural. Alumnus and alumni, I'm pretty sure that alumnus is used to refer to a male graduate. Alumni is the plural of alumnus. Okay, so there you go. It simply means someone who went to a certain school. Okay, so you can be the alumnus of a certain school. Ramon from China has the next question. Hi Bob, how do you pronounce written, certain, and mountain? I find some Canadian and Americans just skip the T sound and just sound like rien, stren, mountain. Okay, so here we go. Slowly, I would say written. In the written word, you know, when something is written down, you will see the words. I am certain that this live stream will have a lot of people watching, and sometimes people go and climb a mountain. So you can hear how definitely with written, you can hear the T's a little more in the middle. When I say certain, I don't say the T as much. And when I say mountain, you don't hear the T as much. So definitely in faster normal English speech, that's what you will hear for sure. Let's see here. I just want to double check something. Everything looks good. Let's go on to the next question. This is from Aslan. This is a great question. Hi, Bob. So little correction here. Why are there so many synonyms in the English language? So why do we have so many ways of saying things in English? I don't know. I think because it is a language where people love to write and they love to express themselves. You will often hear people using different words because they want what they have written to sound beautiful. Okay, so you will certainly hear that from time to time where people use a lot of synonyms. Let's see here. Next question is from Ferris. Let me get that posted. Hi, Bob, the Canadian. My kids didn't go to school yesterday and they're not going on Monday due to a teacher's strike. As a teacher, could you shortly tell us their demands? So first of all, I actually do not work for the public school system. So I am not on strike right now. I work at a private school. What I would say is that teachers and the government are disagreeing on how much the teachers should get paid, and they are disagreeing on how many students should be allowed in a classroom. So that is what the basic disagreement is. Next question. Abdurrahman says from Algeria, what does VIP mean? So VIP stands for very important person. Very important person. There you go. That is what VIP means. Let me clean up my questions here, folks, and we will move on. Let's see here. Jamie James from India has the next question. Jamie James from India. Hi, sir. My name is Jamie James from India. How can I develop my reading skills? So obviously by reading, but it's important that you read at the correct level. You don't want to read things in English that are too difficult for you, and you don't want to read things that are too easy. So I often recommend start with children's books. If they are too easy, read young adult fiction. If that is too easy, read everyday fiction that normal English speakers would be reading. As well, if you, thanks for the super chat. Learn American English with this guy. Says this channel inspired me to start the American channel. Well, thank you. I hope that your channel is going well, and thank you for the super chat. Let me get back to the question though. To develop your reading, make sure you are reading at the right level, okay? And I always recommend that you read the news. The news in English is written in a way that's easy for everyone to understand. And as you read the news over a year, you will just get better and better at your reading. You really will. Let's see here. Alexa has the next question. Alexa from Russia. What is the difference? A little correction there. What is the difference between just and only? So I'm only going to drink tea today. I'm just going to drink tea today. This tea is really good. You can see there that I gave you two example sentences where the words are used in exactly the same way. So that's not a full explanation. There are many ways to use just and only, but that was an example of where you could use them the same way. Irina from Ukraine says, hi, Bob. Please explain the difference between to encounter and to come across. Thank you. So first of all, let's correct that. To encounter, that is the correct spelling. So to encounter, when you encounter someone, it means that you see them somewhere. It's not a very common word in everyday English. In fact, if I went to the mall and said that, oh, I encountered one of my friends there, it sounds very formal. We would more likely say that we came across somebody or we ran into them. Not literally, but I would probably say instead of, oh, at the mall the other day I encountered a few people, I would probably say I ran into a few people that I knew. So definitely when you encounter someone or when you come across something, there's a little difference there that I didn't explain. Usually you encounter someone and you run into or you come across a thing. So hopefully I didn't confuse too many people there with that explanation, but it's worth looking up. But again, probably the most important thing is in normal everyday English, we would probably say that you run into someone. And again, not literally, not like, boom, more like, oh, hi, how are you? Let's see here. Next question. Let's see. Pavel from the Moscow region says, hello, Bob. Are you communicating with other English teaching YouTube channel authors? Maybe to change some experience. If not, why? If yes, is it useful for you? So I generally rarely ever watch other English teachers on YouTube because I want to make my channel as unique as possible. I mostly do whatever I feel like needs to be done or what my viewers are asking for. So I do from time to time watch other YouTube English teachers just to see what they're doing, but it's rare. I'm far too busy actually making videos to have time to watch other people's videos. But I do watch a lot of regular English YouTubers, not English teachers on YouTube. Let's see here. Amen says, I heard that you walk every day. Do you do it after heart surgery to be an active person, or do you do this all your life? So before I had heart surgery, I used to walk a little bit and I did it for exercise. After heart surgery, I definitely walk a lot more. So I don't walk every day, but usually 4 or 5, sometimes 6 days a week, I go for a good 40-minute walk. Last week, I went for 1-hour walks 5 days in a row and just felt really, really good. And I definitely walk more now because I had heart surgery. I want to stay in really good shape in case I need heart surgery again. Next question, Alexei from Russia says, hi, Bob. Is it polite enough to say hello to a person older than you whom you see for the first time? Yes, it definitely is polite to say hello. So if I was meeting someone for the first time and they were older than me or younger than me, I would say, hello, it's nice to meet you. So if someone said, this is my mom, her name is Diane, I would say, hello, Diane, it's nice to meet you. And I would shake her hand, okay? We often shake hands in Canada. We don't often do the cheek kisses. We shake hands with people when we meet them for the first time. Let's see here. Oh no, I hope I pronounced this right. Nyexon, hi Bob, I'm glad that you pronounced my name correctly the last time. Best regards from Mexico. Nexon, I hope I pronounced it correctly this time. I'm sure I got close this time around. Hey, I'm just going to pause to say a few things. 1, welcome to this live stream. 2, if you are new here, don't forget to click the subscribe button or give me a thumbs up. And 3, if you have questions, please use the form to ask the questions. I am almost full on questions right now though, so I'm not sure I'm going to get through them all. I hope you're enjoying this lesson so far. Ken has the next question. Ken says, hi Bob, I really like your videos. I have a little sister and she is quite bad at English. What should she do to learn English better? So if she's young enough to take English classes at school, she should definitely be in English class. If the school that she goes to offers any kind of English classes, that would be a great start. The second thing I would recommend is if she is really little and you still read bedtime stories to her at bedtime, I would make sure you start reading English bedtime stories. That would be a great way to start introducing her to more English in her daily life. Let's see here. Next question, Wooby says, hi Bob. Hi Wooby. I really like your videos. Could you tell me what's the difference, little correction there, what's the difference between fare, fee, admission, and tips? Thanks a lot. So a fare is something you pay to go on a bus or on another mode of transportation, okay? So when I go on the GO train to Toronto, I have to pay a fare, okay? A fee is just a general term for something you have to pay for. So if you might have to pay a fee to be a member of a club. You might have to pay a fee in order to buy things from a certain place. It's just a general term. Admission is what you pay to get in somewhere. So if you go to the car show in Toronto today, there's a big car show in Toronto. In order to get in, you would have to pay admission. Okay, so you have to pay to get in. Let me see here. And a tip is simply money you give because you like the service that you received. When you see people give me a super chat during these live streams, what they are doing is giving me a tip. They're saying, here's $2 as a tip because I appreciate the video. They don't expect anything from me. Often in restaurants, you will see people give tips. In Canada, it's often common to leave 15% of the bill as a tip. So a tip is money given just because you appreciate the service that you have received. Let's see here. I hope I can pronounce this. Let's see here. Abdelmoula. Hi, Bob. Thanks for your videos. You're welcome, Abdelmoula. I'm from Morocco. Could you please pronounce this word, mischievous? Thanks a lot. So when people are mischievous, it means that they do bad things or they act badly sometimes. Looks like we have a flood of new people coming in. Please remember that if you have questions, please use the form to ask the question. If you ask questions in the chat, I will not be able to answer them. I only answer questions from the form. So here's the next question from Danny CDN. Hey Bob, when people are speaking incomprehensible words, are they talking gibberish? Yes, they definitely are. Is there another way to say this? Thanks in advance. Greetings from France. No, we would say gibberish. Yeah. So if someone's like blah, 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 and you can't understand them, we would say they're speaking gibberish. Okay. Sometimes when people are intoxicated, when they've had too much to drink and they have trouble talking, they will slur their words or they will talk gibberish. You just won't be able to understand them. Let's see. Kiowa says, do Canadian people care or talk about politics a lot, like in daily conversations? What about you? I don't talk about politics a lot, but Canadians definitely talk about politics a lot. Probably the most common topics for conversation are the weather, sports, politics, sports again. I can't think of any more. I do have a video on how to learn small talk in English. If you search YouTube for Bob the Canadian Small Talk, I'll go over what are some of the most common conversation topics when people are speaking English. Greg has the next question. Hi, Bob. Thank you very much for your work. Thanks, Greg. When should I use might? So might is when it's possible that you will do something. So I could say, I might go shopping this afternoon. I might drink all of this tea by the end of the live stream. I might not. See, there's the opposite. So I might go shopping. I might not. I might drink all of this tea. I might not. Here's another phrase for you. More than likely, I'll drink all this tea. So it's when you talk about something that could happen, something that is possible. Let's see here. Next question. Pratt says, hi, Bob. Thank you for videos. I'm very bad at English grammar. Hoping to have a session from you on grammar on how to pronounce mayonnaise sauce. So first of all, when we eat sandwiches, sometimes we put mayonnaise on them. And in terms of grammar, honestly, there are lots of videos on YouTube to help you learn English grammar. I would just start to search for the part of grammar that you would like to learn. So do a search for, learning English grammar phrasal verbs, learning English contractions, learning English adjectives and adverbs. That would be a great start. Zone in on what you want to learn and do a search for that. Let's see here. Next question from Marnia. Hi, Bob. What do you say when you feel ashamed for somebody's silly behavior? Do you use the expression Spanish shame? No, we don't use that expression. You usually just say, I was embarrassed. So if my child in a store was just yelling and throwing things and breaking things, I would be embarrassed. I would also probably be a little bit annoyed with them, but we don't often use the word shame or ashamed. You could say, oh, I was so ashamed the other day because my kids were fighting in the grocery store. So that might be one way to do it. Let's see here. This question comes up from time to time. Let's see here. Ghazi says, hi, Bob. Greetings from Turkey. Could you please tell me what is the main difference? Little correction there. What is the main difference between get and take? So if I go to my sister's house, I can take some food there with me. Okay, so that means I pick it up at my house and I take the food to my sister's house. I could go to my sister's house and get some food. Then I would take that food home again. So I hope that that made some sense. I do understand that get and take, they deserve their own video. So I will put it on my list of video topics for the future, but I should definitely do a video on the difference between get and take, because they aren't interchangeable, but they are tricky to learn. Next question from Di. Di says, hi, Bob. This is not a question about pronunciation, but I wonder why people often say bless you after someone sneezes. Thanks a lot. Have a good day. It's just what we say in English. So someone's like, achoo, and you're like, bless you. I know in other languages you say other things after people sneeze. I can't remember the French right now. À tes souhaits. I think I said that correct. One of the French people can correct me there. But it's just what we say. I think it's short form for God bless you. Because in North America, we were a long time ago a very Christian religious part of the world. Often some of our language still stems from that. So I think bless you is short for God bless you. But I'd be curious to hear in the description or in the comments below what some of you say in your languages when someone sneezes. That would be very cool. Next question, Doreen from Taiwan. Hi, Bob. Could you explain what is monkey tennis? It's from Alan Partridge. Thank you. I have never heard of monkey tennis before. I'm looking it up right now. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know anything about monkey tennis. It must not be from North American English. Possibly it is from Britain. Perhaps it is from British English. You'll have to follow it up with the source where you first heard about it. Let's see here. Mira has the next question. Mira says, yes, à tes souhaits. Yeah, thanks, Lolly. Mira says, how I understand faster speaker. Okay, let me read this. Okay, how can I understand faster speakers more generally? I can understand most people, but sometimes people are so fast it makes me sad. So Deekshanch says, when people sneeze, they say nothing in Hindi. So thanks, Deekshanch. All I can say, Mira, is that when you are practicing your listening skills, it is important that you are listening to a variety of different people who speak a variety of different speeds. So that's why television and music and movies are really, really good for helping develop your English listening. It's not good to only listen to the same person all the time. If you only used my videos for your English listening practice, you would get good at understanding me, but you might have trouble understanding other people. So as much as I would love it if you all only watched my videos, it's actually very important that you watch other videos, other TV shows, and listen to a lot of music as well. So make sure you have some variety in your listening. Oleg says, hi, Bob. I'm from Ukraine. Your lessons are so cool. Thanks, by the way. What's the difference between discover and explore, and does it mean far-fetched? Thank you. So first of all, when you explore an area, it means you walk around looking at it. So I could go for a walk today down by the river and I could explore. So I could look at the bank of the river. I could look in the water. But when you discover something, it's like you find something. So I could walk along the river, and while I'm exploring, I could discover a whole bunch of clam shells. Okay, our river has clams in it, so I could discover them. That would mean that I'm finding it. If I told you that I found 1,000 clamshells, that might be far-fetched though. So when you say something is far-fetched in English, it means that you are exaggerating. Let's see here. Yeah, My questions are never answered. I know, I'm sorry about that. I work through the questions as quickly as I can. If you submitted a question via the form, I will let you know that there are 52 more questions to go. I'm trying my best to get through them. If, however, you're asking questions in the chat, you're right. Your question will not get answered. Sorry. Here we go. Sheng En says, "Hi Bob, I'm writing a paper, but I'm bad when I'm writing acknowledgement. Could you give me some tips?" I think what you mean is when you are writing footnotes. Whenever you write a paper in English or other languages, if you use information from other people, you need to create what's called a footnote or a bibliography and declare where you found that information. So I would do a search on Google for how to write a bibliography in English. Bibliography. It's a hard word to say. Next question. Sita Ornhanago says you should teach French to us. Your YouTube channel. It could be named Bob the France. Thank you for all your lessons. They are really helpful for helping me learn English. So I am a native English speaker and I learned French as a second language. So I think it's better for me to teach English because my accent is perfect. And even though I speak French, I still have an accent. You always have an accent when you learn a second language. So I will leave the French teaching on YouTube to the people who are actually from a French-speaking country like France or from the province of Quebec or other areas in the world where French is the native language. I think that's best for everyone. Ferris says, "Hi Bob, my kids didn't go to school yesterday and they're not going to..." Oh, wait. I think we answered that question already. The teachers would like smaller class sizes and more money. That's what's going on. Let's see here. Next question is from Steven. "How's it going, Bob? Could you explain what the difference is between..." So I fixed the question there. "Could you explain what the difference is between suitable, proper, and appropriate? Thank you." So when I go out in the evening, if I go to a dinner, I want to make sure that I wear something suitable. I want to make sure that I wear the proper clothing. Maybe I need to wear a tie. So in that situation, I want to make sure I wear the suitable clothing. That means that I want to wear what you're supposed to wear for that event. So it would be proper to wear a tie. It would be appropriate to wear a tie. So I've used almost all of those words in the same way. Let me just give you some sentences again. Here we go. So when I go to a dinner, I want to wear something that's suitable. That means I don't want to wear a t-shirt if everyone else is wearing a tuxedo. So I want to know what the proper attire or what would be proper for me to wear. And then I want to make sure that what I wear is appropriate. So a lot of sentences there. I hope I explained that well. But it's worth doing a little bit of a research yourself on that one. Simbat says, "What is the difference between calm down, chill out? Which one is polite?" So depending on how you say them, they can be polite, but they can also be a little bit rude. If I say to someone, "Calm down," and I say it really loudly and angrily, that wouldn't be polite. But if I was like, "Hey, calm down, just take it easy," that would be a little more polite. If I said to someone, "You really need to chill out," which means to calm down, that would that's a little more informal and it's definitely slang, okay? So if you say, "Calm down," and you yell and you're really stern, that would be, a little bit mean. Or if you're like, "Hey, calm down," that would be a polite way to say it. I always point my finger when I'm saying things with my angry voice. "Calm down, don't do that. Stop running in the hallway." That's what teachers sometimes say. "Stop running in the hallway." Let me clean up my questions here and we will keep moving. Hi, Bob. This is from Talus. "Hi, Bob. Could you tell me how to use the term out of the blue?" So when something happens out of the blue, it means you were not expecting it. So I could say, I was walking along the side of the road and all of a sudden, out of the blue, a bird flew by and almost hit me in the head, okay? So that would mean that I wasn't expecting a bird to fly by and it just came out of the blue. So it was unexpected. Maybe someone gave you money. Maybe out of the blue, you went to your mailbox and there was an envelope with money in it. That never happens to people, but maybe someday that will happen. Let me see here. Next question from Chico. Hello, Bob. Can I use get ready, get more, get less, etc. Instead of prepare, increase, decrease? So depends. Let me explain each of those individually. When you get ready, it means you prepare for something. When you get more, it means that you know, if my tea is gone, I could go get more tea. And then the next one was get less. Yeah, we don't often use get less. We would probably say, you know, in the future, I'm going to get less money at work because my boss can't afford to pay me very much. So let me look at your different ones. Your second set. When you prepare something, so if I say I'm going to get ready, I could say I'm going to prepare, yes. If say I'm going to get more, I could say that I'm going to get an increase. And if I say I'm going to get less, I could say I'm going to get a decrease, okay? So I'm going to get less money at work. I'm going to get a decrease in pay at work. They're not direct replacements of each other, but they do mean the same thing. Irina, let me just scroll down here. Hi, Bob. Hi, Irina. I really like your accent. Thank you. What's the difference between retain, remain, and sustain? I can't fully figure them out. Would be really grateful to you. So when you retain, so sometimes you retain water, and you're not getting fat, you're just retaining water. It means you have more water in your body than normal. So it means that you are holding more water, okay? When you use the word remain, it just talks about how much is left, you know, there's how many cookies are remaining on the plate. That's a really formal way to say that. We would say how many cookies are left on the plate, but you could say how many cookies remain. And then your last one, when you sustain something, it means you keep it at a certain level, okay? So if the dollar in Canada is worth a certain amount of money, sometimes the government helps sustain the dollar at that level. They help hold it at that level. So there you go. Hopefully that made some sense. Let's see here. Naras says, oh, I'm having trouble pasting this one. Naras says, how I can learn English if I don't have anyone to practice with. Okay, I've started learning English about 2 months ago, and my English is bad till now. So you can read, write, and listen and learn vocabulary all by yourself. Okay, so do as much reading, listening, writing, and learning new vocabulary as you can. When it comes to speaking, there's a couple things you can do. You can talk out loud to yourself. You can pretend to have conversations with someone who isn't there. You can record your voice and then listen to it again. But the most beneficial thing you can do is you need to pay someone to have English conversations with you. When I was learning French, I used a website called Preply. There's a link in the description below. If you have money and you can afford it, the best thing you can do to practice speaking English is to hire someone on Preply that you can talk to using Skype or FaceTime. You can also use italki or Cambly. There's a couple different ways that you can do that. But at a certain point, as you are learning English, you need to start having conversations with another person, preferably a native English speaker. Cecilia, hi Bob, I'm from Argentina. I want to thank you so much for your videos. You're welcome. They are really great. I love poetry. Can you recommend a Canadian poet? So I don't know any Canadian poets off the top of my head. I'm sorry, I should know a famous Canadian poet. You can actually hear me searching up a famous Canadian poet. Leonard Cohen, who also writes music, is the first person that comes up when I do a search for famous Canadian poet. I will do some research though. Can you ask that question in the comments below, and I will try to look up some information for you. Great question, Cecilia. I feel bad now that I don't know any famous Canadian poets. This guy says, do you think Canadian English is more like American English or British English? Deekshant says he likes Robert Frost. I believe Robert Frost is American. Don't quote me on it though. But back to the question, this guy, do you think Canadian English is more like American English or British English? We are definitely more like American English, okay? Canadians have their own accent, but because we live so close to the American border, Canada's here, America's here. By the way, if you go and watch my last video from Tuesday, I talk all about Canada. I thought it was a fun video to make. We definitely sound more American than we do British, although some of our words are spelled using the British spelling. So it's kind of a mix. But I think because we watch a lot of American TV and we watch a lot of American movies, we sound more American than British. Next question is from, let's see here. A lot of spam in the chat. Could we not ask questions over and over again? If Todd or Dave, thank you very much, Dave, for taking care of that. Next question. Ario Witch says, oh, which one is correct? Holding me back the second one. Something might be holding me back from loving him. Okay, the first one is incorrect. The next one is correct. Thanks, by the way, Dave, for taking care of that. I'm not sure why people spam the chat. It doesn't actually help. It's actually more annoying than it is nice. It doesn't help you get your question answered at all. Let's see here. Paulina, why is it so difficult to understand native speakers? What are the ways to do it? So number one, when you watch English television and you watch English movies, they usually talk a little more slowly and a little more clearly than people do in everyday life. So that's why I think the best way to practice your listening is to watch reality television. If you watch shows like Survivor or The Amazing Race, that is what we call unscripted television. It's actual real conversations between native English speakers. So I would watch those two shows to help practice. That is great listening practice. As opposed to regular television would be scripted. So people are memorizing their lines and then they are saying their lines from memory. Whereas a show like Survivor or a show like The Amazing Race, many times it's unscripted. They have not memorized their lines and it's real authentic English conversation. Let's see here. Tatiana says, hi Bob, hello. Thank you for your videos. You are welcome. Could you explain what does touch the nerve mean? Could you give advice about how I can learn and understand phrasal verbs? So second part of your question, do a search for phrasal verbs on YouTube. If you want to watch my videos, do Bob the Canadian phrasal verbs. Do a search for that. That will help you find some. As to the first part of your question, the phrase is to touch a nerve, not the, it's a. So when something touches a nerve, it means you've said something that kind of upsets someone a little bit, okay? So maybe I get upset really easily. Maybe I get upset really easily when people talk about sports. So sometimes when people talk about sports, it might touch a nerve if they talk about the Maple Leafs because they haven't won in a while. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat. I should just focus on what I'm explaining. When something touches a nerve, it means that it upsets you. That's the short and clear explanation of it. Let's see here. Next question. I should probably at some point explain what the word spam the chat means. When you spam the chat, it means you post the same thing in chat over and over again. And then usually that makes Dave and Todd really busy. Let's see here. Rose says, hi Bob, I ought to improve my speaking alone. Could you tell me your advices about it? So again, my advice for practicing your speaking by yourself, talk to yourself, pretend to have conversations. You can also shadow people on YouTube videos. So you play the video and then you say what they say. Or you watch a conversation on YouTube between two people and you say the lines of the one part. And also you can record yourself and play it back. But the best thing you can do to practice English speech is to hire a tutor, okay? I know it costs money. I know for some of you that is a challenge, but it is the best way. Let's see here. Ricardo says, hi Bob, this is Ricardo. Would you consider having us send questions by voice in the future? It would be useful to practice. I have a lot of ideas of things I could do in the future, but right now I don't have time to do anything different. I am exploring options this summer for maybe doing something like that. Let's see. Anad says, hi, Sir Bob. Why do you skip some comment, mostly my comment? Do you read all the comments after finish the live? So I don't choose to skip them, Anad. I simply read them in order. And if you are putting your comment in the chat, I actually do not see a comment from you in the forum. So if you need to know why, you need to make sure you ask it correctly. Do I look at all the questions after the chat? Yes, I definitely do. Also, Anad, if you asked a question that was very technical and related to grammar, I don't often answer those. And sometimes people ask questions and I feel like I'm doing their homework. I usually don't answer those either. Keith says, hi, Bob. Your videos are awesome. Thank you for keeping all of them being free. No problem. Thank you for, is it common to use per se in daily English and how to use it properly? Thanks a lot. So it's not common per se to use it in English. That's how you would use it. People who are well educated and use big words when they talk will from time to time use per se in English. So if you need to know the formal definition, I gave you an example earlier. It says by or in itself or themselves intrinsically. So it's kind of this high, I was going to say highfalutin, you might have to look that up, word. So people don't use it per se. So that's how I would say the use of per se. I'm making myself laugh. So let me get the next question here. It's good that I make myself laugh during the live stream, right? Let me see. Next question is from Brahim Aksas. Hi, Bob, from Morocco. What is the difference between hearing and listening? So you would listen to a song. You would hear a bird. You could hear a song on the radio, but that's not the same as listening to a song. So if I was to say, the other day I was listening to music, it means that I turned on the radio and I was in the act of listening to music. I was playing music and enjoying it. But if I say I was walking outside and I could hear birds, okay, it means that suddenly you weren't hearing them, there was no sound, and then you hear them. So there is a slight difference. Just remember things like when someone talks, you should listen, okay? When you are playing music, you are listening to music. And sometimes when you are walking around, you will hear things, okay? That was not a great explanation. You should probably look that one up as well. Let's see here. Let's go to the next question, though. I'll do a few more questions and we will wrap this up. Tony says, hi, Bob from China. Good weekend. What are the differences between the words modify, improve, renovate, transform when expressing some changes? So first of all, when you modify something, you're simply changing it, okay? So if you modify a piece of furniture, you take a piece off, you put another piece on, you modify it. When you improve something, it's the same as modifying it, except you're making it better, okay? So improve always means that you are making something better. Let me scroll back here. When you renovate, we are usually talking about changing a house or apartment. So this room, 20 years ago, we renovated this room. That means we took things off the wall, we took a wall out, and we put new things on the wall. So that's what renovate would be. And the last one, when you transform something, it becomes something different, okay? A simple thing would be when you put a tea bag in water, it transforms the water into tea. So it becomes something completely different. Hopefully that made sense. Hopefully I didn't slurp there while I was taking a drink. Let's see here. Next question is from Elias Gomez. Hi, Elias. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. Thanks for being a member of my channel as well. That's very helpful. Elias says, hello, Professor Robert. How are you? I heard on the Netflix Templar series the pronunciation we shall. When to use thank you, handsome. Well, first of all, I don't believe I'm handsome. I'm just Bob. And we shall is an older version of we must. Okay, so we don't say we shall in English unless we are joking. But in normal everyday English, we do not say we shall or I shall go to school today. We don't say it, okay? It's an old way of saying that you must do something or that you have to do something. So I want to stop for a minute and say hi to the 608 people who are watching. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new here, don't forget to click that red subscribe button over there. And another thing, please do watch parts of this video tomorrow. There will be English subtitles on the bottom that will help you with your listening. As well, if that doesn't work for you, the audio of this lesson will be available as a podcast in about 4 or 5 hours from now. It does take a while. So look for that if that helps you as well. But thank you to the 615 people who are watching. As you can hear, we are wrapping this up. A few things for you to do before we close this off. One, if you have not watched yesterday's live lesson, I did a live lesson yesterday on acronyms. I talked about acronyms like ETA, which means estimated time of arrival, and RSVP, which is actually French for répondez s'il vous plaît, but in English it means please reply. So if you haven't watched yesterday's lesson, please do watch it. If you just search Bob the Canadian acronyms on YouTube, you'll find it. If you didn't watch last Tuesday's video, I did what I thought was a fun video about Canada. So if you could watch that as well, that would be very helpful for you. Anyways, I think we are closing off here. It has been 1 hour. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a good weekend. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great day tomorrow as well. Thanks a lot. Thanks to Todd and Dave for helping out. And thanks to everyone who left a super chat. One last thing, if you are not a member of my channel, no problem. But if you do become a member, you do get some extra stuff, okay? You get a transcript of the Tuesday video as well as other things. And if you join one level higher, you actually get a version of every Tuesday video with simplified Chinese subtitles permanently on the screen and Brazilian subtitles. So if that's something that interests you, that'd be great. Again, all of my videos will stay free. I'm gonna say bye now. I think I've talked too long and I'm gonna push this button